Hello YouTube, I'm Pilot Stud and welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft video. Today I'm taking a look at this relatively unknown aircraft that I think is actually one of the best payware products for Microsoft Flight Simulator so far. Not only is it a blast to fly, it's got a fully custom avionics suite, was developed in partnership with the aircraft manufacturer in real life, has an incredible level of detail, with plenty of liveries, and comes in at a very affordable price. Let's take a look at this Subsonics JSX-2 by Ryzen for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So here we are in the cockpit of this beautiful aircraft. We've got a glossy trailer for this aircraft, so I thought I'd show it first, just so you can get a taster of it, and then we'll talk about the cockpit. Here we are in the cockpit. I hope you enjoyed that trailer. First of all, you can see we get a nice bit of attention to detail with the remove before flight tag, which we can actually take off. We get all our switches down here, all of them do work, but before we get started up, let's close the canopy, which you can do by pressing the lever down here. And there we go, here it comes. And we do get a bit of noise, and we're safely in our aircraft. Let's get this bad boy started up now, and then I can show you the really awesome surprise feature. Now while we're doing that, let's talk about price. You can get this on simmarket.com for €19, which is around 16-17 UK pounds, just under $25 US. That does include tax, so you might get it a bit cheaper depending on your tax rates. There we go, we've got the master switch on now. We'll get the fuel pump on, we've got the main engine on, we can see we get the Garmin avionics come on. Basically, we are started up. It's a simple aircraft to start up. In real life, this is an experimental amateur-built jet. It's got the name Microjet. It's not necessarily a kit aircraft, but it kind of is. It's a bit confusing to me. But it's basically an amateur aircraft. They've been in production since 2019 and there's 11 units produced so far. It does have a parachute like many of the Cirrus aircraft, but unfortunately it's not modelled in Microsoft Flight Simulator just yet. This aircraft has a crew of one. As you can see, we've got one seat with a length of 16 feet 6 inches, coming in at 5.03 meters, a wingspan of 18 feet, a wing area of 60 square feet, and an empty weight of 500 pounds. At the back there, we've got a PBS TJ100 turbojet, which has got 1.3 kilonewtons of thrust. A lot of thrust for an aircraft as little as this. With a cruise speed of 210 knots, it's a lot faster than most general aviation aircraft, although for a jet, it's pretty slow, let's be honest. It is stunning. You can see we've got some good reflections already, the rivets are 3D. And while this yellow livery does look a bit bland, it's how it looks in real life, so they've definitely got it there. I mean, just look at it, the reflections on the wings, beautiful. I'm really impressed. Let's hop back into the cockpit now. Now we can remove this pin, and there we go. You can see we get full control of the throttle now. And you can hear our engine starts to rev up. We'll just put that to idle so we don't go anywhere. You get to hear the sounds. Now, in my opinion, the sounds are what lacks in this aircraft. While they're not default sounds, I think in the cockpit they're a bit quiet. I mean, I have got no experience with this aircraft. I have been reading through the reviews on Sim Market, and it seems to be the general consensus. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that's what I think anyway. I think they could be a bit louder, but aside from that, they're pretty decent sounds. You can see we do get the heat haze behind the engine, which is very nice. Now I'm going to show you the feature that did blow my mind. So let's come down here, just below the throttle, you can see we've got a switch here that says MGL Garmin 3000. Swap between the Garmin 3000 to MGL, and boom, you can see, wow, look at this. A fully custom avionics suite in this aircraft like nothing we've seen before. This did blow me away, quite frankly, and the fact it is really in depth is really impressive stuff. You can see on this page, and we turn the page by using this knob down the bottom right corner. You can see we've got a more traditional 6-pack. This page we've got a glass cockpit but without the artificial horizon. And this page we get the artificial horizon. You do notice how it's not IFR equipped, although on Microsoft Flight Simulator it's perfectly acceptable to kind of navigate IFR, although there's no proper autopilot in this aircraft. It's like that in real life as well, so just bear that in mind. But this really is very impressive stuff. We've never seen anything like this. Of course, we've had the likes of Aerosoft bringing their custom avionics in the CRJ, but this is something that really is quite exciting. For €19 as well, you are getting a fully custom aircraft. No use of default Microsoft Flight Simulator systems in here, unless of course you want to, by swapping between MGL to the Garmin 3000, which is always very nice. And of course with this you can follow a flight plan, although the aircraft has no way of actually following it because there's no autopilot systems. Anyway, seeing as we're started up now, let's get away. As you can see, the engine noise is a bit subdued in the cockpit, that's all I think, but maybe I'm wrong. Parking brake comes off, we do have some sounds there. And we can increase our throttle, and you can see everything moves as it should do. Now, because this is a jet aircraft on a tiny little general aviation aircraft, kit built as well, the acceleration is incredible. It requires a lot of control really, nothing like I've ever flown before. We're here of course at Oshkosh, if you didn't notice. Beautiful airport, world famous of course for so many reasons. So here we are coming onto runway 23 now here at Oshkosh. It does need a lot of control on takeoff, and I've got to be honest, I haven't executed a very good one yet. It just requires too much rudder control than I'm used to coming over from the 152 as my main general aviation aircraft. So we'll just go slowly with the throttle just so I can get up and sort my rudder out before we go insanely off the runway like I did just now. Let's try it again. So trying again for the third time, I do struggle with this aircraft on takeoff, if I want a nice smooth takeoff anyway. Just got to remember not to overcorrect myself and get myself into a nasty spin. And there we go, that's a pretty shoddy takeoff, but it is a rather difficult aircraft to fly. You can see the avionics suite there, looking beautiful. Gear up now, we do get noise, flaps up, and there we go, flying away from Oshkosh. So how does this plane feel in the sky? Well, I've had enough flights in this aircraft now, I've done quite a few circuits around a few different airports. And I'd say it does take a lot of practice, but once you're up in the sky, it's a relatively stable aircraft. As you can see, there's no overexcited movements like there was when I was trying to take off. It's easy to follow VRP. It's a nice stable aircraft, and the same could be said about landing with takeoff really. That's when it becomes difficult in my opinion. It's a whole new way of flying. I'm not used to having a jet on my back in a tiny little aircraft like these. But like all aircraft, I'm sure it will come to me. It's really worth it, I've got to be honest. It feels really smooth up in flight. A custom avionics suite, as detailed in that, I would have no questions if this was just put in the default game. It does feel that good and that well supported. Speaking of well supported, let's talk about performance. as in terms of FPS. It's very smooth. There's a few lag spikes here and there, but it's nothing you shouldn't expect in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can even do smoke on it, because this is really an aerobatics plane. Smoke is a big thing since Sim Update 5, a lot of aircraft have got it coming over, and this aircraft is no exception. I really do like it. Yeah, there is a few issues, it doesn't look the best in some places. When you look down the cockpit you can see we've got some weird lighting bugs down here. The wings are really well done, but it's not all perfect. But I have to say, it's not far off. I just cannot get over that avionics system there. That is impressive. Really seen nothing like it before. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a good aircraft? I can tell you for €19, I do think it's worth it. I'm not too sure what that beeping's about. Possibly fuel. Okay, it's not beeping anymore. There's also a comprehensive manual that I do recommend you read. I've read through it, although I'm still learning. It is a really beautiful aircraft, perfect for flights like these, really. Cool, crisp conditions. It does have a good night lighting, if we just swap over to night. As you can see, we are working with a torch, but aside from that, you can fly this aircraft in night, although not completely recommended, as IFR is not permitted in this aircraft, so it doesn't necessarily have all the capabilities for it, but flying at dusk and dawn is always pretty good. I give this aircraft a solid 9 out of 10. It's very impressive and certainly worth it for the money, although it might not appeal to everyone because it is quite a niche aircraft. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this review of this beautiful JSX-2 by Subsonics and YSim. A thing that really stuck out to me as well before we wrap up is that the Subsonics team, the actual manufacturers of this aircraft, worked with YSim in producing it, which would explain its great quality. 9 out of 10, that's all I've got to say. It's a really good aircraft. From me today, that is all. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. The link is in the description. Thank you to my first class channel members. They get a shout out on the screen now. Thank you to Jesse Wiseman, Ethan Bebeck, Simon Schmidt and Captain Matt Russell. You guys really help me out, and if you want to become a channel member to support the channel and get some exclusive perks in return, you can by hitting that blue join button. On top of that, I'm running a charity fundraiser with a skydive, raising money for some 2 awesome charities, SAFA, the Armed Forces charity, and St Nicholas Hospice. Anyway guys, from me today, that is all. Bye bye. The charity donation link is in the description.